Welcome back to Josh's Auto. I work on a fair amount of diesels here, so I wanted to go ahead and do a video just going over a fuel injector for a 7.3 Power Stroke. So as far as resealing them, anytime I take an injector out of one of the 7.3s or even a 6.0 Power Stroke, I go ahead and make sure I reseal them. Seeing as how they have both the fuel and oil going through them, it's important for them to keep a good seal. You can get reseal kits. Alliant Power made the original injectors for them, for Ford that is. So I ended up going on Riff Raff Diesel's website and was able to order a set of 8 rebuild kits, or reseal kits, for the injectors. It's a pretty simple process, so if you're careful you can do this really easily, and just wanted to go ahead and show exactly what you do. I know whenever you take them apart, the best thing to do if you've never done it before is each piece you take off, you set it in a line in the order of how you took it off, and it makes it a lot easier to see what you're doing and know you put everything in the same order that you took it off. So, let me bring the camera over to the injector. Alright, with how I go ahead and pull the old seals off and the copper crush washer at the bottom of the nozzle here, pretty much to do the whole thing need razor blade, a pick, and a rag. I always make sure I wipe everything down. I try and wipe it down before I take anything off, because there will be quite a bit of oil whenever you take them out. So I wipe it off, and then I make sure I clean everything up as best as I can without spraying any chemicals on it whenever I go to put the new seals on. So I'll start down here at the crush washer. So I just gently work the razor blade in behind that crush washer, kind of rocking it around to where I can get a little bit of separation. So once I have a little bit of separation in it, I can take the pick and just carefully work it out. And typically I'll go all the way around the whole crush washer here. Flip it over, just work it out slowly. When you get to a certain point, you can actually grab it with your fingers, just kind of walk it off. So you'll have your seal here, here, and then there are 2 seals in a metal ring as well. So just put the pick in behind it, kind of pull up a little bit. You can just walk the seals right off. Here's my second one. And then the thicker 2 are a little bit tighter to get out, so it might take a little bit of force to get them to come loose. Of course, once they work up a little bit, then you can just roll it the rest of the way out with your finger. Alright. A little O-ring there. It came right off. Then this one here, the one that's closest to the metal ring on that top bar, it's flat instead of round. I'll get them all the way off and hold them up. Whenever you go to put it together, just make sure you do put the flat one up against that metal ring. So, say that one's flat. See, this one, it's a little bit chewed up. So, and there's the round one. This ring can be a pain in the neck sometimes, but other times just pops right off just like that. Like I said, if you do this carefully, it's not a very difficult job. Just try and be careful not to scratch anything or put any major nicks. Now, I'll start at the bottom of the nozzle here and wipe all the way around it just to get any carbon that came loose when pulling the crush washer off, and then run a towel in around all the grooves. Just wiping them all out, making sure there's no debris or anything in there. That's all wiped down. Get your new seal kit. Open it up. So it's going to come with all of the same O-rings that you just took off. So usually color coded. And the Alliant Power kit comes with the metal ring as well. So I'll stand them up. Just gently work my way around. Getting it all the way down. Metal rings on. Take my flat rubber seal. Work it down. And something else I did, because as you can see, it pulled itself up to the top. Is I'll take my pick and I'll just gently put it in there, wedge it in, then run it all the way around until I get the seal all the way flat up against that metal ring. So it's flat, so then we go with the round one and just work it our way down with it. So now we're up to this one. This one's going to be the pink one, and it's definitely a little sturdier. So what I do is I'll set my pick in, so that way when it gets to the point to where it's a little stiff and snug, I can wiggle it a little bit with the pry or with the pick here, not putting the pointy end in it, to help get it all the way down. Just gently working it. Then I can take my pick out. Of course, it'll pull back down to its regular size. And this orange one, same thing. I'm gonna go ahead and try and get a better angle of that. I put my pick in there. Some of you that have stronger fingers than me may not need the pick, but personally it makes my life a little easier. So start rolling it, have it seated. Now there's controversy on which way the copper washer goes. There's little ridges here, and how I always put them in is I take the part where it ridges up and I set it up, facing to where when you set the injector down in the hole, that it would be facing the bottom of the cup. Now, to seat it down, so this one here, 9mm socket, can take it and just gently tap on the socket to get it started, and then you can usually just push it by hand the rest of the way on. And there the injector is resealed. Bear with me a minute and I'll move over to the truck and I'll show you my procedure for installation. Alright, now that we have the injector resealed, I always take some assembly lube. I run it just a little bit around the seals here. My little bit could be different from your little bit, but you gotta make sure you lubricate it so that way these seals will be able to slide down in that bore without cutting or tearing, because it will cause issues with the vehicle as far as trying to build the oil pressure needed to fire the injector, or leaking fuel and oil, mixing them together, which is not a good thing. So, now, the cylinders here, I've already evacuated any bit of oil that's gone down in there. So that's already been done and taken care of course. Alright, so you take your injector, I set it down, firmly push on it a little bit, making sure I have the hold down bracket above the retaining bolt that's at the top side here. Firmly pushing, and when I can get it latched on the bolt on the intake side of the head. Didn't quite get it down though. Once I have it down, kind of latch it in place, push down with my fingers, and there it's seated. So let me go grab the bolt and I'll be right back. Alright, so we have our retaining bolt here. Get it started. And then I typically use just a regular ratchet to go ahead and start tightening it down, just to make sure everything is nice and smooth. And the ratchet, I'm just gently gonna turn it in until it gets snug. I'm gonna go ahead and turn on my torque wrench here, and it says 124 inch-pounds for the torque. So get it sit here. So it's 14 Newton meters, 10.3 foot-pounds is what this truck calls for. Take it. There it's torqued in. So 124. Now I always go back usually once I have them all in, and go back and double check the torque. And this particular truck was getting a used engine, so I've been resealing all the injectors and putting the new pedestal in it. It already had a new turbo on the old engine, so I figure while I have the cab off and the injectors out, make a good time to show for somebody who didn't know how to reseal these injectors. But make sure before you ever put an injector in, if you did not pull the oil drain plug, even if you did pull the oil rail drain plug out, it's always best to make sure you can use a little vacuum chamber to try and pull any bit of oil out of the cylinder, because it can cause a hydrolock condition, creating bigger problems. So it's better just to go ahead and do that while you have them out. You can make sure you have it cleaned out good. So, thanks for watching.